Welcome to Sotheby's Australia's May sale of important Aboriginal and Oceanic art. We are honoured to be entrusted with the sale of the Anthony and Beverly Knight collection of early Papunya art. 11 works from this highly important Australian collection recently showed in the exhibition Jukujanu at the National Gallery of Victoria in Melbourne and the Musée Quai Branly in Paris, which was enthusiastically received by international audiences. The Knights were the single largest private Australian contributors to this exhibition. Tudamajabangati's One Old Man's Dreaming is a key image in the history of Western Desert art. While the exact context of its creation remains a mystery, Geoffrey Barden recalled that the painting was amongst the earliest images that he had recognised, perhaps even predating his arrival in 1971. An incredibly important work, One Old Man's Dreaming, sets out an essential foundation upon which contemporary desert art was built. The catalogue cover for the Knight collection, Karpa Jampanjippa's corroboree and body decoration, represents a high point in the artist's early exploration of his totemic designs. Rather than just describing the body paint, corroboree and body decoration becomes the performer in full flight. The white lines suggest the shapes, design and rhythm of ritual and ceremony, which then transcends the medium on which this work is painted, board.
An historical highlight of the collection is this group of 6 albums containing no fewer than 144 images of Australian Aborigines. It's a virtual cyclopedia of anthropological photography at the end of the 19th century. And they come from the studios of Kerry and King, Charles Kerry and Henry King. Kerry was one of the best known of the late 19th century Aboriginal photographers, his works having been seen, for example, at the Colonial and Indian exhibition of 1886. Most of the works are this kind of formal, posed studio portrait, although there is a significant group of 21 remarkable initiation images from the Walwan people of the Macquarie River, taken in 1898 in the field. At first sight, this may be a commonplace, unremarkable artefact. A late 19th century returning boomerang made at La Perouse, south of Sydney. However, a lengthy and detailed dedicatory inscription marks it as an artefact of profound historical significance. It originally belonged to a Sydney architect, Charles St Julian, and was given by him to a visiting naval gunner from the Australian station of the Royal Navy. And the inscription gives the date of the departure of the Royal Navy ships. But perhaps what is more significant is the fact that St Julian records that it was made and thrown at a display in association with the Centennial of 1888. Now, historically, there was very little involvement of Aboriginal people with those centenary celebrations in Sydney. The radical politician, Thomas Walker, said in Parliament to the Premier, "We ought to do something for the Aborigines." To which Parkes replied, "What? And remind them that we have robbed them?" This unique artefact is probably the only surviving relic of Aboriginality at the Centennial of 1888.
Uda Uda Jungala's special Pintupi travelling ceremony conveys the artist at his most charismatic, eccentric and intense, and was painted at the height of his creative powers. The importance assigned by the artist to this particular work is evident through its methodology. Uda Uda's obvious vitality and vigour with the brush has produced a masterpiece of early Western Desert art. Paddy Bedford's Tuanganari is a rich and complex work which celebrates the artist's singular painterly ability. Imbued in the history of rock art and dance board traditionalism, Bedford's iconography, with its bold forms and textured paint, has found resonance with Western modernist painters. With its striking black geometry, balance, suspension and design, Tuanganari is a particularly fine and impressive example of Bedford's most desired later period. I hope you have enjoyed seeing some of the highlights of this important sale, and I look forward to personally welcoming you to the viewings in Sydney and in Melbourne.